Hello, everyone, and welcome to McGill Cares webcast series supporting family and informal caregivers. I'm Claire Webster, a former caregiver, certified dementia care consultant, and founder of McGill University's Dementia Education Program. I work with a dynamic team of leading healthcare professionals to oversee the program, who include Dr. José Moret from the Division of Geriatric Medicine and Dr. Serge Gauthier, Professor Emeritus, formerly of the McGill University Research Center for Studies in Aging. McGill Cares is supported by the Amelia Saputo Community Outreach for Dementia Care. We have a very interesting topic today, which is mindfulness and compassion to reduce stress and anxiety. My guest is Bassam Khoury, Associate Professor in the Department of Educational and Counseling Psychology at McGill. He is a clinical psychologist with a specialization in mindfulness-based treatments. He and his team at the McGill Mindfulness Research Lab conduct research on advancing the theory, research, and applications of mindfulness and compassion. Welcome, Bassam.
Thanks, Claire. Thanks very much.
This is a topic that I do not know too much about, which I really should, because I feel like I could apply it in my own life, but one that I think is very, very important. I'm one of the co-authors of the 2022 World Alzheimer's Reports with Dr. Serge Gauthier, Dr. José Moret, and Dr. Pedro Rosaneto. And this is a topic that was really highlighted in terms of reducing stress and anxiety, not only in care partners, but also for persons living with dementia.
That's very true. And I'm happy today to present about mindfulness and compassion and how it can help caregivers and even patients also with dementia. Again, thanks, Claire, for your introduction today. I'm so happy to talk to you about a subject that is very important to me, mindfulness and compassion, and how it can help people, specifically in conditions of stress and kind of challenges the situation. So maybe the first question comes to mind for most people is, what is mindfulness? And it's a complex question because if we look at research, as I try to answer it in different ways, what is this concept? What is this kind of thing that nobody understands but seems important, seems helpful, but yet it's still a bit misunderstood or sometimes even not well understood? So maybe the first thing I would talk about mindfulness is a skill ability. So that's a good news. Meaning as a skill, as an ability, it can be learned. So it's not only if you don't have this mindfulness coming to you as a disposition or that you are born with mindfulness, people can learn the ability or the skill of being mindful. So that's good news. Now, what it is, again, beyond the definitions, academic definitions, which might be confusing for some people, let's put it as a skill ability that will involve the mind. So how you think, how you deal with your thoughts, how you deal with your mind, what's happening inside your mind. Your body, the body is extremely important in mindfulness. It's an anchor point. So how you attend, for example, your internal sensations, your physical sensations, what do you do with them? And the external world, which sometimes people do not think about it. They think mindfulness, it's only about me, and me. No, it's not only about you. It's partially about how we are inside, but how we also interact with the external world. And when I say world, it's a very large way, meaning other people first, which is extremely important, how we interact with other people, how actually even we interact with animal and nature can be included in this concept, large concept of mindfulness. That's important to notice. So it's the mind, the body, and the external connection with the world. Now, if I look a bit and rapidly without going to deep academic concepts, what are these components? It's a bit, if we are trying to grasp the skills or abilities that we need to learn when we are kind of cultivating mindfulness, one of the things when we talk about the mind is being able to take a step from our thoughts, which is not easy. It seems easy, but it's not as easy. So the first step, I'm not anymore caught in my mind. I'm not kind of prisoner of what's happening in my mind, because the mind is always active, they always thoughts, they always judgment, they always fighting internally. So how to kind diffuse, detach? We call diffuse, detach, decenter, take a step back from the mind. So we don't want to fight what's going on in the mind. If I have thoughts that say, okay, things are bad and things will be even worse, what's happening to me? It's so hard to take care of this person. I'm doomed. So don't fight these thoughts, but also don't grasp on them. Don't start to say, okay, I'm arguing with the soul. Okay, this is bad. Maybe it's not as bad as it is. So don't grasp, don't fight. It's a position of an observer of the mind. I observe the mind as it is, and I look at these thoughts coming and going. No fighting, no grasping. It's not an easy position, I can tell you by experience, but it's something you can learn to observe the thoughts, not fighting them, not grasping them. Then there's this attention. Where is your attention? Because attention dictates everything. Attention dictates your stress level. Attention dictates your mood. Attention dictates if you are able to lead a life that is meaningful. So where is your attention will dictate a lot of things. So we want kind to be able to have this flexibility of attention. We don't want to be caught in attention. Like I'm only in one thing and I cannot get out of it. So we want to be able to attend to our body and sensations. It's important to see what's going on inside me, my feeling, my physical sensations. Where is my body? How it's happening inside me, but also to be able to attend to external things. Whereas the mind can also contemplate. You can contemplate a tree, for example, an animal, a piece of art. You can contemplate anything without judging it, without activating the mind, just being there, attending to it, seeing it, hearing the music. So seeing, hearing, being in the senses, not judging or activating the mind. So the attention is important, and then the third element is accepting. Because let's say you are having this feeling. Maybe this feeling is sadness. Maybe you are sad. Maybe you are anxious. Maybe you are angry. So accepting this feeling. Accepting doesn't mean, again, fusing with them or acting on them. It's just being with them. Noticing them. And not fighting them. So it's okay. I can be with you. Accepting so is as you are telling your feeling or sensation, I can be with you. It's okay. It might hurt. It might be not pleasant. But okay, I can be with you. I can be with you. So these are elements of how we can learn and cultivate mindfulness in a way. Now, second question, because the presentation today is about mindfulness and compassion, being the main two elements in Buddhist philosophy that influence it today, Western psychology. So compassion is this kind of component that many times comes with mindfulness, and in Buddhism they kind of teach it as an element that should be practiced within mindfulness, that you should not practice mindfulness without compassion. And more you practice mindfulness, you can see how much compassion is important, because it allows you kind to direct feelings of loving, of kindness. And compassion can be directed towards you and others. So you start by yourself. And to make it a bit more kind of practical, we can look at dimension of thinking, feeling, acting, and connecting. So thinking, let's say, it starts by, am I judging myself or judging others? How I think about myself. Many people say, I'm bad, I'm null, I'm not good enough. So what is the way I think about myself? How much I judge myself? Or others. Again, when you're applying it for others, it applies the same way to others. And by noticing the thinking is, again, taking a step back. As we taught in mindfulness, we are cultivating this stepping back. It's not about fighting the thinking, but also stepping back. Okay, I'm too judgmental. I'm being too harsh. Can I just step back and don't kind of get caught in this hard thinking about myself? So the feeling is one that is sometimes a bit difficult for people. So how I can feel compassionate towards myself? It's a bit not easy because it requires this internal ability and almost sometimes imagery, mental imagery. As we can see in this picture that depicts the person is almost hugging themselves. So almost you need to depict that in your mind and ignite the feeling of love towards yourself. Again, and be towards somebody else too. So it's almost igniting the feeling. So it's not about, again, I think I feel that way. It doesn't work that way. So from thinking, you have to go to the feeling, and feeling is internally, is mainly in the physical body. The feeling does happen inside us. So you have to see how you can ignite this feeling. Among them is this imagery, meaning like almost imagining yourself being hugged or somebody loving you. Sometimes we talk about even imagining a place you love to be in, and this place is so happy to see you. It can be a forest, it can be a beach, it can be any place. It's like imagining the place is so happy and almost hugging you. Some people might imagine a loving person can be a parent if they have a good relationship with a parent, or a spouse, or a friend, or whoever, that they have this kind of deep connection and love connection. Is imagining this receiving this love, and when it's towards others, you can give this love to somebody else. So this is the feeling component. The third one is acting, which is easier actually for people. And most time when I work with patients, I start by acting because it's the easier one, and people can understand it easily, and they can act on it because these are more concrete actions. So what actions you can take most of the time, every day we want to take care of yourself. So these are more easy things. It can be as simple as taking a walk, or maybe taking a bath, or maybe having a drink like hot chocolate or something that you like. So simple actions. We don't want fancy things that maybe you are not able to do or are not feasible or are extremely costly. So things that are feasible, easy, attainable that you can do. But here we have to differentiate actions from doing things that can be harmful. So somebody might tell me, for me, I feel good if I don't know, if I take drugs. Hey, I would say, is it an action of love towards yourself? Is it something you are giving yourself to feel, to be healthy also? So you have to have this discernment in the action. We want actions that are constructive to physical, mental health, and well-being. So yes, we want to take care of yourself and feel good, but not taking actions that are destructive. So that's a discernment that requires in acting. Acting in compassion towards you or others is providing things that are good for you. And connecting with others, which is the fourth component, very extremely important. So how you can accept help from others and provide help to others. Accept needing others and being able to be present for others. And for caregivers, this will be extremely important. How you can be able to be for somebody else. And as you are with somebody else, you are giving as a caregiver, how you can accept, hopefully you have maybe somebody else can help you, how you can accept help from others, whether it's your spouse, whether it's a nurse, whether it's somebody else that can help you also when you need that support. So this is like this bidirectional. I give and I accept receiving too. Because many caregivers, and I know even mental health workers, including psychologists, have more difficulty actually receiving than giving, because they used to give. A caregiver who is extremely almost being conditioned. So we get conditioned since we are children sometimes to give, and we become extremely good at it because that's how we see ourselves, is a self-perception and what we did across our life. So it's like, okay, caregiver, it's normal for me. Even I might be tired, but it's what I know to do. When it comes to receive, I might be more fighting it. So it's not this, am I fighting receiving care of love or help from others? What's part in me in fighting that? And act of compassion that I accept. I try to change to accept it, to integrate it, because more I accept this help, more I can also give better care and help to others. So a bit also what self-compassion is not, and I touched on it in the last slide, is not self-indulgence, for example. So again, it's not because people say to me, oh, if I'm self-compassionate, meaning I indulge, like I whatever, I go smoke stuff, I go drink stuff, I don't work, for example, because I'm compassionate. So let me take it back and just relax. So it's not self-indulgence. Extremely important. It's not about that. No, you still ask of yourself to be the best that you can, but it doesn't need to come with harsh judgment and hating yourself and punishing yourself or hitting yourself and not even giving yourself a break. It's not that, but it's not self-indulgence. Don't get me wrong. Self-compassion is not self-indulgence. So it's extremely important to know the difference between those two. Actually, people who are self-compassionate from many studies are more productive and able to do things than people who are extremely self-harsh, because it allows you to be more present, more able to take things when you are self-compassionate. So it's not like not doing things or taking it easy. It's not doing things while you are hitting or punishing yourself or being harsh on yourself. It's like helping yourself to be better. So it's again not self-pity, because there is no pity in compassion. I'm trying to help myself to be better, to do better, and to feel better. It's not passive, but because it requires a lot of action. So there are action elements. So it's not like I'm compassionate, so I don't do anything, and I think it comes to me. It doesn't work that way. So it's extremely important to know that it requires work. And even compassion towards others, I would say caregivers are good at it, but again, sometimes it becomes there's resentment. And we are all, I mean, I work with patients, and sometimes we are tired, so there's resentment. So building this compassion towards you and others allows you to see, okay, am I helping today? There's resentment in me, and can I transform it to compassion? Because doing things with resentment doesn't help you, doesn't help somebody else. And you have to notice, it doesn't mean you are a bad person or bad caregiver. It happens to everyone. It happens to me as a psychologist. It happens to every of you. It happens to a parent who loves their children. They sometimes have resentment because they're extremely tired and the child still needs more attention. So it's to notice, maybe I'm resenting a bit today. How I can direct this compassion towards me and then towards others. Certainly, it's not egotism, because some people think it's like it become narcissistic and I don't know, egocentric. It's not, because it's not about the ego. The ego is a presentation of self. Just a bit kind of rapid, quick. Ego is presenting yourself. Loving yourself is not about your presentation, about your relationship with yourself. So there's nothing about the ego into it. People who are egocentric are not self-compassionate, actually. They present themselves in the good way, but internally there's a lot of self-hatred. So it's loving yourself and presenting whatever you want. It's not that important. It's not a presentation of self. So that gives us an idea what is not extremely important, to not confuse it with other things. Going from these conceptual ideas and what is mindfulness, what is compassion, what is not compassion, to how to practice. Because again, at the end, we want practical, where we want to be able to put that into practice. So if we look at mindfulness and we see compassion would be resembling that too, there is what we call formal practices and informal practices. Two categories. What that means, it's simple as that. Formal, I put specific time to meditate. And again, here we're talking about mindfulness mainly as meditative informal practice. So you are meditating, and we'll talk a bit about it a bit later, how to meditate, how to do it. So you are doing something, that activity of meditation during a specific time. It can be 10 minutes, it can be 1 hour. It's called formal practice. Informal, you are not meditating as such, but you're integrating a way of being in activities. For example, I'm attending my sensations when I'm gardening. I'm attending my sensations when I'm taking a shower. I'm noticing the water on my skin, the sensation of that. So the body would be central in those non-formal or informal activities. Where I'm trying, I cannot meditate because I'm doing things, but I'm attending. I'm attending what's going on inside me and what's going on outside me. I'm attending, I'm not judging. I'm just being present. I'm noticing not being in my mind, as we talked about not being caught in the mind. So I'm doing that across my activities throughout the day. Having said that, and I have my own biases, certainly I always propose to people as much as I can to try to do the formal practice. And why? Because it's like going to a gym. So it allows you to consolidate this muscle of meditation and presence. So it's easier to do these informal practices. So it's like it allows you to be more able to attend to these outside meditation. However, if the person is not able to meditate, I understand they can start by informal practices. Let's talk a bit about starting formal practice of meditating, for example. It's something I took it from Google, from the internet. It just shows you a bit that there is a way a bit to practice and how to sit, to give you the space. As you can see, you are seated. There is a space of being present in your body, of being anchored in your body, being vertical, giving the space inside you. Your arms are resting well. Your eyes either closed or semi-open. Is the idea of this position that is the most known. You might ask me, is it the only position? No, I can show you the other positions, but this is the most common one. If you can do it, if your body allows it, it might help you to be more centered, more anchored in the moment. And there's always a question about time, how long I should meditate. And this I get always questions. There is no time in the way that it's more important to build the practice. Even if you start by as low as 5 minutes, than to start by saying I want to do it for 45 minutes, but then you don't do it anymore until next week or next month. So better to start little bit by little chunks of time and try to do it every day as much as possible. So to build this practice, this habit of meditating on a daily basis, than saying, okay, I want to just, if I cannot do 45 minutes, it's not worth it. This is not a positive way to think about it. So better to start bit by bit and build the practice, and then you can augment the time than to want to do a lot and give up very easily. So here again with formal practice, I put some photos here. There are different types. The most known is sitting meditation. As you can see again in the slide, it shows you different positions. And I will not go in details in teaching that. I think there are many Buddhist centers and other meditation centers that are very good in teaching that. There are also videos on YouTube and other places where you can talk about it. The idea is to be centered in your body. There is no perfect way. As you can see, there are different positions. There's the lotus, which is extremely difficult unless you are a yogi. There's a half lotus, which most people do. There's other positions that even on the chair. If you are not able to do this half lotus or whatever, you can sit on a chair. It's okay. The idea, if you sit on a chair, is to have your back vertical, not like that. So why? Because you want attention. It's a presence. It's not, we don't want you to fall asleep. It's not a sleeping practice. It's awake practice, awakeness and presence. So being centered in your body is extremely important for the state of awakeness, of presence. And again, taking care of your back, because we don't want you to harm your back in a way that you need to see a professional after meditating. You need to be comfortable but anchored. Okay. So that's the idea of the posture. Second practice that is known, but maybe I can go back and talk about a bit how we practice, let's say, sitting. I give an example because, again, I will not give a meditation class. There are much better resources. Hey, I mean, let's say if you're starting meditating, you start, for example, to breathe in and breathe out. As simple as that. You are sitting in this position. Once you felt uh, anchored in your position, centered, you can start just noticing breathing in, noticing breathing out. As simple as that. And then your mind start to get busy. Thoughts, judgment, planning, anxieties, urges. Notice them, don't fight them, don't judge them, don't grasp them, let them come, let them go. And you go back to the sensations of breathing in and breathing out. So it can be as simple as that. I'm not saying it's easy, but the instructions, and you can use many apps or guided meditation. You see the instructions are simple. Come back to the sensation of breathing in and breathing out. It's not a complex thing on terms of instructions. It's letting your mind coming back to the sensation of breathing. It's not simple because you can see how much the mind will try to lead you somewhere else. The mind will be very active, almost pushing you to get out of it. And you need to deal with your mind with kindness. So as John Kabat-Zinn, who brought a lot of mindfulness to the West, would say, bring your mind gently to a sensation of breathing in and breathing out. So don't fight it. Don't say, oh my God, why my mind? Don't fight it. Bring your mind gently, your attention to the sensation of breathing in and breathing out. So you have to have this kind of kindness in doing that, and noticing your mind drifting and bringing it back. Drifting, you bring it back. And that's the cultivation of mindfulness, is this practice of noticing and bringing it back, and the kindness in it, and the patience in it. And I will talk about some attitudes that are important when you are meditating. Okay, let's continue. Again, there are excellent meditation teachers that are better than me, and there are meditation centers, Buddhist teachers on the internet that would give you instructions. There are many instructions, but the idea is always to do it with this intention of helping yourself and being kind to yourself. Another practice which is formal is called walking meditation. And it's good for people who like more to move. And it's done normally in many retreat centers and meditation centers. We go outside, actually, even as you can see on the grass, if you are lucky and having this space. Or when it's internal, when we do it, let's say in a meditation center, as you can see in the photo down, we do it around the cushion. So we are kind of turning, but it's very slow. You are not kind walking fast, we are walking slowly. The idea here is to notice your weight going from one leg to another leg. Because when we walk automatically. But if you notice, you need to shift your weight from one leg to another leg. So it's a complex, actually, process. If you see a little baby child learning to walk, they struggle with it at the beginning because it's a complex process. But we are so much automatic that we take it for granted. But if you're walking so slowly and noticing your weight on the left foot, then going on the right foot, then on the left, you notice that it's a whole process of shift to the weight and balance between your left side and right side. So allows you to kind of notice the sensations and to be with them. Again, with the same idea, diffusing from your mind. Letting go of the mind, being in the body, and mainly being with the sensation of weight change between your two feet. So that's walking meditation. And many meditation centers will offer also a alternation between sitting meditation and walking meditation. Because if you are sitting for a long time, at some point, you might start to be a bit uneasy, let's say after 45 minutes or that. So they kind of prefer to do some, after that, 15, 20 minutes walking, and then you might go back to sit. So it's kind of allows to different position in meditation. Among also the formal practice, we call body scan and yoga. I will not go in these yogi position. I put them like that. Please don't take them seriously. Many of these are not easily doable for most of us. So it's just kind of don't try to do most of them and don't hurt yourself, please. I'm not very expert in yoga, and I will be very, very, very direct with you. I'm much more into meditation, but it can be done together. Body scan is an important practice. It is most of the time it's done as sitting meditation, but it can be done also as a position of lying down. Why it's important, specifically if the mind is agitated. Body scan, what is a body scan? It's like you direct your attention to your body from your head to your toe, or your toe to your head. And the idea is that you are scanning. I don't know if you, I hope not, or if you went to a scanner when you have to do a checkup, scanning your whole body. So the scanning machine is scanning every single part of your body. So here, mentally, you are scanning every single part by attending to sensations, not judging. In your scanning, not just attending with sensations. And you will notice that it's not that easy to attend sensations in different parts of your body. Like sometimes in your head or forehead, you might very well attend to sensations. So you try as much as you can to attend the sensations of every single part of your body, head to toe or toe to head. So it's very calming. Again, the instructions are easy. The practice is a bit more difficult because again, the mind will calm and judgment and analyzing and like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm so stiff. I'm also that. It's time just to notice and accept these sensations and be in your body. It's extremely helpful also in sleeping, for example. So it can be done as sitting meditation, which is very good, but also it can be done lying down. For example, many of people have difficulty sleeping. I would imagine caregivers and people who are under high stress might go to bed and not sleep because the mind is active, the body is stressed, everything is stressed. They are worried about many things. So doing this practice allow to shift from the mind to the body. It can be done. You are lying down in the bed, or you wake up inside the night, which is common for people also who are highly stressed. So not to go and start thinking and analyzing and planning and worrying. You start to do this body scan, head to toe or toe to head, and be in the sensation of your body. We know when somebody is able to attend the sensations of the body, they can fall back asleep. Because sleeping is a natural process. Once you are not in your mind, the body will sleep if it needs. So that's another practice, informal practice, mindful eating. Some people put it as a formal practice, actually. Some people consider it informal practice. I would consider it more informal practice because you are eating, unless you decide to put a specific time to mindful eating. You can say it a formal practice, but if you are eating, so I dare to attend to sensations of eating. The taste, the texture, the smell, the touch of the food, so everything that is involved in eating. So if you see Japanese practice, for example, they can drink a tea for 1 hour, just a cup of tea. So it's very long, so they can attend to every single sensation, whether are drinking something or eating something. There's a whole food, and it's not today objective, but there is a whole food, and I have collaborators at McGill working on mindful eating and how it can help in obesity, in eating disorders. So because when you attend your sensation to eat, your body will tell you how much food you need, how much food you don't need. It tells you to eat when you need to eat, and not to kind of stick yourself from eating because it can be harmful. And it can tell you to stop when you don't need to eat, because also it can be harmful if you continue eating. So it tells you, your body is wise. It will tell you, you need that, you don't need that. But the mind can override that. So you might not need to eat, and your mind tells you to eat. You might need to eat, and your mind tells you, no, don't eat. So it allows to reconnect with the body. And the body will tell you, eat that much, don't eat that much. It will tell you exactly what you need. So that's mindful eating. I would like to talk about the 9 attitudes that Jon Kabat-Zinn, as you can see here, it's a photo of Jon Kabat-Zinn. Jon Kabat-Zinn is considered the father of mindfulness in the West. He brought mindfulness into the West in the 1970s and did a lot of research. He's an MIT scientist. Now he is retired. So John Kabat-Zinn also tells us how to practice. How to practice, that's extremely important. So I will go through a bit of these attitudes that are important in your practice. Beginner's mind, what that means. So always you practice as it's your first time. It's not like I'm expert, I'm coming, I know what's happening. Like I have been long time meditating. So it's important to kind of remind myself, I need to practice with a beginner's mind, not with an expert mind. The worst thing being an expert in meditation, you won't be meditating it. Because meditating is attending to the present moment. Meaning if you are an expert, you are attending to the past, what you think, what you know. So once you are in the past, you are not anymore meditating. You are projecting on meditation. You are thinking about it. If I'm writing an article, I might think about it. But if I'm practicing, you need this beginner's mind, as it is your first time, as you never meditated. Non-judging, which is extremely difficult one. And John Kabat-Zinn will go and say it's not about non-judging, because your mind will judge. It's about not getting into that, not really buying the judgment, not being caught in the judgment or believing it. So the mind will judge. That's nature of the mind, but diffusing from the judgment. So non-judgment is about, maybe we can change it to diffusing from the judgment, distancing from the judgment. Acceptance. What does that mean? Accepting what's happening inside your mind or your body. You might feel, again, unpleasant sensations or feelings or even memories. So try to accept, it's okay, I can be with you. Letting go what's happening. But most of the time when you start meditating, there's sometimes urges. Oh my God, I need to do that. I need to do something. There's that. I have these problems. Letting go everything. It's not that easy, but letting go. It's okay. Trusting your body. Trusting that you are there and it's okay. And your body is able to take care of yourself. And your mind will not have the same wisdom. Your body has the wisdom. So if you trust what's going on inside you at that moment, you'll be okay. And this patience. Many people get impatient in their meditation. It requires to kind of be patient. It's okay. It's not supposed always to feel good or to feel that way. It can feel not good or boring. It's okay. So having this patience to be able to observe everything. It's not like I need to be that way. Why it's not that way? It's like whatever it is, it's just to attend it. And non-striving, which is difficult, specifically for Westerners. I need to do stuff. How I'm sitting there and people tell me I'm like losing my time. You're telling me not to do it. Oh my God, I have too many things to do. Yeah, it is non-striving, not doing. It's not easy, but it is. And I can tell you, if I can tell you it's about doing, it's not a good idea. But I will tell you from experience, not doing in whatever time you meditate, we're allowed to do more effectively in the other modes. Even though it should not be the objective, and I don't want it to be only the objective of meditation, but it allows you at least to do it in a more conscious way. So when you are not doing for a while and just being, when you are doing things, working, interacting with others, being a caregiver, being any person you are doing, any job you are doing, you are more being present and effective. Gratitude, a sense of being grateful for things that are and that you have in that present moment. And generosity, giving yourself and giving others. This practice and this way of being. So a bit to start to mindfulness practice, as we can say, it's maybe to try to many of these practices we talked about. So it can be formal, informal. This meditation on the breath, as we talked, breathing in, breathing out, body scan maybe. You can maybe try yoga. Maybe you can try walking meditation, sitting meditation, eating meditation. You might try a bit to attend your sensation in the shower, when you are gardening, when you are eating, when you are interacting with others. Try to many of these practices and see what works for you. Because sometimes some of them works better for you than others. And it's really hard to know that. And then once it's working for you, try to repeat it as much as you can in order to be able to gain this kind of experience in it. So as you can say, which one works for you? And I normally, when I have people in front of me, I ask them, which one works best for you? And some people tell me body scans, and some people tell me walking meditation. So it depends upon the person what works best for them. Now to have maybe to maintain a practice, which is not always easy, because sometimes people start and then do not maintain a practice. It requires a commitment. And a commitment, please don't see it as a commitment like have to do it, as I have to go to the gym. A commitment towards suicide. I'm practicing to take care of myself. I'm practicing to love myself. And I'm practicing sometimes also to be a better person with others. So, because again, more you are present with yourself, more you can be effective, kind, and present with others. So it's to integrate this mindfulness into your life. It's not an add-on. It's not like I'm going to the gym for half an hour or 1 hour. It's because we want it beyond the practice. Whether you are practicing for 10 minutes or 40 minutes, we want it's to be throughout the day, meaning it changes how you attend to yourself, how you attend to others. So it's not an add-on in your life. It's a part of who you are. That's what we want. And that it is present with you in every interaction, in every moment. I will go maybe a bit quickly on that. This a bit tells you how the practice will happen without going to all the scientific details. But just to know that the first stage of meditating, it's normally difficult for many people. So you don't get discouraged. When you are just sitting, you are just started sitting, meditating. So even for people who have been a long time meditating, when they're starting the meditation practice, I'm going there and sitting and meditating, there is sometimes feeling of boredom, impatience, why I'm doing that, I'm losing my time. So that's normal. So don't freak out when you see it. It's normal. I might feel these feelings. We'll call it hindrances, like things pushing you not to practice. Everything not to practice. So it's okay if you are able to stay with patience with it and accepting it. You go whatever stage 2 we call it is relaxation. And so many people also confuse meditation with relaxation. I say, okay, so you are telling me to relax. It's not false, but it's not true. Relaxation is a phase in meditation. So it's not all meditation, we hope it's not. But it's part of meditation. But it's not the whole objective of meditation. So if you go beyond stage 1, you go to stage 2, where you are relaxed as any other relaxation exercise, which is good. But we want to go beyond. Now, what happens in relaxation? Maybe the people who are extremely tired, let's say caregivers who had a long day, and if they are starting meditating maybe at 10 p.m., there's high chance that you fall asleep, which is not bad, but not what is intended. Because if you had a hard day, you were extremely active and tired, and you are now in this relaxed position. It has been a few minutes. There's high chance to fall asleep because you are tired. Now, what helps not to do that and to go to stage 3, that you do this practice when you are less tired, when you are awake. Most of the time, it's recommended in the morning. I do it in the morning, first thing when I wake up. So in your morning, you woke up, you have this energy, this presence. It's much easier not to fall asleep. I mean, if I didn't sleep well in the night, it might go that way. But if I assume it was a good night, I should be able to go to stage 3. Where is you have this concentration? You are now diffused. You feel diffused from your thoughts. You are more distant from your thoughts. There's more. You have more space, guys. As it is, there is more space inside you. There is more insight. This is much calmer state. So it's beyond relaxation. And if you continue, you might start. And again, we should not have. I have to have that. But many people will experience as a additional state after that, feeling of love, of devotion, of connectedness, of extreme positive feelings. And people who are extreme meditators might feel what I mean in Buddhism. They talk about the state of where there is no more duality. So my internal experience is 100% connected to the external experience. It's not something you need to aim towards necessarily. It's just to know that there are different stages. And if you are patient with yourself, you can experience without one important thing I want to say, without grasping on any of these stages. Because some people will start experiencing this feeling of love and deep positive feelings. And the mind starts to grasp, oh, I want this feeling. It's so good. It's like being high. And that's a problem in meditation. No grasping. These feeling comes and go. So it's not like if you have a feeling of extreme love, it will stay always. But it's a feeling that you learn that when you give yourself space, you can have the ability to really deeply love and being open. How to practice compassion, the second thing, and you can see is are very linked together. So one of the main practices is loving kindness meditation, which is a type of meditation. I didn't talk about it, but it's a meditation where you can ignite these feelings of love and kindness towards you or others. I put here the photo of Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh is a great Vietnamese teacher and monk who taught a lot about loving kindness meditation and compassion. So it is, and you can listen to him, for example, as an example of how to learn about compassion. Certainly, we go back to this the thinking, this dimension of self-critical thinking, which is part of the thinking of developing compassion, taking care of yourself. As we said, there's action, doing things that are helpful towards you. Imagery. So imagery, as we said, like of bringing a person, a place that you feel totally connected to, loved by. Behavior change in relationships. So relationships being more with relationships that are healthy and not toxic, for example. Self-compassion will tell you not to engage in toxic relationships, for example. Toxic relationships will not be helpful to you. It's not an act of self-compassion or an act of devotion if you go into a toxic relationship. You are not helping yourself, neither is the other person, actually. So choosing relationships that are resourceful for you, that are helpful, that are constructive for you and for the other person. Practicing gratitude and joy, the joy of little things in the moment, the joy of the sun on your skin, joy of your drink, maybe your coffee in the morning, the joy of being with a loved person, letting go of the past. That's extremely powerful in compassion, and Thich Nhat Hanh will talk about it, because all of us, we can blame ourselves on things we did or we didn't do. None of us is perfect. So you might have done mistakes, and all of us do mistakes or are not always perfect, or sometimes we fall short. Even if we are caregivers, sometimes we don't do everything that we want to do. It's okay. So letting go of the past. It's okay. Don't increase your suffering by saying I'm a bad person. I should have. If you want to do better, you can, but don't kind of start to be caught in the past and judgment. Listening to teachings of compassion. I think Thich Nhat Hanh is a great example of a great teacher of compassion. The self-acceptance is extremely important, as we said, in both mindfulness and compassion. So accepting your thoughts, even if they are not the thoughts you want, because some people always they want like positive thoughts. Sometimes they come negative thoughts, resentment, anger. So accepting the thoughts, the feelings, the sensation, is this acceptance of everything as they are, allows you to develop both mindfulness and compassion. I know I'm a bit more over time. I will try to go a bit faster to finish in a few minutes. So why it's important for caregivers in particular? I'm presenting here with the stress vulnerability model, which is a model that is highly used in psychology and psychiatry. What does that mean? All of us have some vulnerability. All of us, coming from genetics, developmental story, things happen to us. So all of us come with some level. We don't know it because nobody will tell you you have this amount of vulnerability, meaning we have dispositions to physical or mental problems, let's say, put it that way. Now there's the stress. What happens, more stress you have, as you can see, there's a threshold. Threshold meaning this line where symptoms start to appear. What are symptoms? Symptoms of anxiety, depression, can be up to psychosis in severe cases, but symptoms of what we call psychopathology or symptoms starting to appear. So the vulnerability is present, but more you have vulnerability, less stress you need to have symptoms. Less you have vulnerability, you have more space to take stress. So that's a wise way to know where is your level that you can attend. Now, if you have your stress of life that is usual stress, for example, financial stress, inflation, taking care of your kids, all these things that you have that all people are stressed about, work and jobs and security. Now, if you are a caregiver on the top of that, so you have your normal stress going on, which is adding to vulnerability already, which all we have, and now you are caregiver for someone who is in need, like dementia, but individual with dementia. Now you're adding, you have to know that you are adding this red part to already the stress you have. So it's more, and I don't want you to make you afraid, but there is more risk of developing symptoms. That's what I say. Because you are extending this elastic, like really it's extended. It's really extended. You have a lot on your plate. So it doesn't take a lot. And sometimes it takes nothing. You might start feeling symptoms. Most of the time, it starts by anxiety, depression, burnout, these kind of typical symptoms. So it is, again, it's common. And not to make you afraid, but to think how you can help yourself. Just to understand, it's not like something wrong is with you. Because, I mean, as all humans, we have a level that we can attend. Beyond that, symptoms will start. And any human being, it's not only you, any human being, put them in a heightened level of stress, they show symptoms. It's impossible. So why mindfulness can help you? It can help you in diminishing the stress. So there is psychological well-being, self-regulation, better sleep. Sleep is extremely important for stress. Focus of attention. It helps you to less being anxious, less rumination. So we see a lot of data showing that mindfulness practices and meditation practices diminishes stress and anxiety. There's plenty of evidence of that. We did many meta-analysis and reviews of hundreds of papers, and I can tell you with confidence that these practices have shown constantly to diminish stress, anxiety, depression across clinical patient, non-clinical patient, caregivers, nurses, doctors, counselors, patients with dementia. We have seen it all over the place. Now, when we compare it to other practices, like relaxation, for example, we still see mindfulness practice as better than relaxation. When you compare it with another treatment, like cognitive behavior, CBT, for example, you can see it as equal. I will not say it's necessarily better, it's equal, but CBT also, you need somebody to do that with you. Whereas mindfulness, you can practice on your own. Meditation, you can meditate on your own. Now, some people ask me about medication. Is it better than medication? It's a difficult question. Why? Because very well we compare mindfulness to medication for multiple reasons. Some of them are ethical reasons. But if we go with benzos, which are very prescribed to anxiety, certainly benzos are not. I mean, I don't want to just talk against benzos, but they are not a treatment for anxiety. You cannot take them every day. If you take them every day, you get addicted. So certainly they are not a way to treat anxiety, even though there is not a lot of maybe comparing mindfulness and medication. Medication are not treatment for everything. But however, if you have been prescribed medication, don't play with it without consulting a medical doctor. So it's not like I'm meditating, I'm stopping my medication. Medication, you need to go back. If you have been prescribed medication, you have to consult a medical doctor to see what they could recommend. Now, again, I don't want to go through all the maybe scientific details, but we can see impact on the brain, for example, and maybe some of you would know some of this impact on both the function and structure of the brain. For example, we see thickness of the prefrontal cortex increasing by meditation. We see this integration in meditation, this integration of different parts of the brain. I think this is maybe the most important part. So the emotional part with the other parts, they are more integrated together. They talk together much more. So for that, some evidence have been shown, again, and it's not my field, have been shown that meditation can help actually in dementia and reducing even. It can be hopefully, and there are maybe some evidence that can be hopefully as a prevention from dementia, because it allows this connection in the brain to increase and activate. So the effect that you can see also by practicing is your awareness of sensations, this balance of emotions, how to engage with other people, how to relate to yourself and others. Sorry, what I put. Again, if we go to caregiver, you are, as we said, you are witness to many challenges, including compassion fatigue. What is compassion fatigue? It's like you're so much given from your energy, from attending pain and suffering. As a caregiver, you attend a lot of pain and suffering, and people with dementia, they live also a lot of suffering because they are losing these abilities and they are not happy most of the time. I mean, some of them are maybe happier than others, but many are not always in the best mood ever, say it that way. So this impacts the caregiver in a way that they give at some point also they are not receiving, because we are human, and it creates like almost inability anymore to give, and almost a what we call a numbing state. We call compassion fatigue, but it's a numbing, as you are not anymore able to feel things for others and not even to give anything. It's like I'm dry. I cannot do anything anymore. It's like there's nothing. So that's important. For that, it's important to take care of us. And mindfulness is among these things. If I go back at the beginning of our presentation, again, mindfulness and compassion are also relational. So it's a relation between body, mind, and so on. So we connect by mind and body, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and sensations, and relationship with others. So there is a part that is also interpersonal in mindfulness and compassion. It can help caregivers because there are always interaction with others. And what I mean, if I talk about it in a nutshell, what we are seeing and what we are doing actually as research, we are seeing that, let's say if we have this person on the right side, on the left side, who is meditating and who is being able to regulate their emotions, and now they're interacting with the person on the right side, who is maybe a patient or maybe individual with dementia. Now this individual is entering a relationship with the person who is meditating, and we can see the other person able to regulate themselves via the relationship with the person who is self-regulated. So when you are meditating or mindful, you are able to more self-regulate. And this is what allows the other person who is related to you to self-regulate. We call social emotional regulation. We see it in parents and children. A parent who is highly regulated, highly present, the child is more regulated. Why? Because the child is using this relationship with the parent to feel better. So meaning if you are feeling better in maybe simple ways, less scientific ways, if you're feeling better, if you are more anchored, if you are more present, if you take care of yourself, you are impacting positively the other person without knowing, actually, just by being present. Even if you are sitting there, not even talking, you're sitting there, you are better inside you. The other person is automatically better. You can see it with your cat and dog. I have pets, and really they feel it. If you are feeling well, you see the cat and dog are happier. So human and animal connect to the other via different ways. Animals may be more instinctive, but human also, they have this regulation via the other person. So maybe I'm here touching on the concept of self-transcendence. And self-transcendence is important for caregiver because caregiving is by itself self-transcending. What that means, self-transcendence, without going to the spiritual and deep meaning, more practical meaning, I'm going beyond myself. I'm doing something not for me, for my ego, for my gain, for my prestige. I'm doing something for somebody else that I care about, that I love, who I committed to. So this is self-transcendence, livid self-transcendence. Because again, self-transcendence is well discussed in as a spiritual element, but it's a very lived concept, in my opinion. So when you are acting with kindness, with compassion towards others, you are self-transcending. And what is nice about self-transcending, it does allow you a meaning in life. So even though it might be stressful, it's stressful to take care from someone else and be a caregiver. The self-transcendence aspect allow you to feel a meaning, a deep meaning. And if we can look at Maslow, and some of people maybe know this hierarchy of needs, just they added, this is recently been added to it, the self-transcendence on the top of it. So beyond you, beyond self-actualization, which was used to be the best or the top of the hierarchy, self-transcendence is today the top of the hierarchy. This ability to connect beyond. So if you look at caregiving as this ability to be interconnected and transcending, it diminishes a lot of the stress because you feel that there is so deep meaning into it. I will touch lastly on a study that we are doing in our lab for older adults. We have two studies, actually, one for older adults in residence who are, we can call normal population, not necessarily with dementia. And there's another study with a lab that we are working with in psychiatry and geriatry that are doing the same study with dementia patients. What is the idea of the study? How we want to teach mindfulness and compassion to older adults, whether with dementia or not dementia. And that's the idea behind. Now, when we try the main practice we know of mindfulness is to meditate, as I explained today. So now when we try to apply it with older adults and even older adults with dementia or cognitive difficulties, it's difficult. Why it's difficult? Because again, if you see meditation, you need first, there's a position to try to attend, but also there's need to attend these internal sensations in time, and there's this stimulation. So I'm trying to attend what's happening inside me. I need to direct attention, which is extremely demanding task. Then there is no stimulation. It's very internal. So what we see many older adults will fall asleep. I say basically, when they are able to engage a bit in, will fall asleep. So most likely they go to this relaxation state and fall asleep, and some will not engage in it. So meaning it's a bit challenging. And we have seen it's a bit challenging. It's not impossible, but challenging to keep the attention of old adults, and especially people with dementia, on just practicing meditation without any other means. For that, we decided, and there are new trends in the field of using virtual reality. Virtual reality is basically you put this device, as you can see it on your eyes, and it makes you as present in another world. But it's more stimulating. You are more embedded in different sensations, visual or sound, so that you are less amorph and less sleepy. So what we decided also to use nature-based, and we teamed up with a company that does produce VR content, and they took magnificent sceneries from the Cotentin in Quebec and other places. So what happens, the other adults will put this device, and we are helping them. I know some will be a bit kind of resistant at the beginning, but we have people helping them to wear the device, and they are embedded in these wonderful nature sceneries. And as they are embedded, they can see, they can almost walk and look in different, it's 360 degrees. They receive some instructions of guided meditation and guided compassion. So how they can attend their feelings, letting go, connecting. So we try to induce the same concepts, but while they are relating to the sounds, to the scene in nature, to make it more stimulating and more engaging to them, so they can work on these skills. It's the study in the beginning. So far, we had good results in terms of feasibility. Most other adults liked it. They engaged in it. They find it extremely nice because they are not able to go to nature anymore. So we have very good feedback. We don't have enough quantitative data in a way to see how much it's effective, but it should be coming in the next 6 months or so. So that's about it today. I really thank you for listening. Thanks again, Claire, for inviting me. It's really a joy. I know I went way above the time, so sorry about
Well,
that. But it's really a topic that I'm deeply passionate about.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for this really unbelievably comprehensive presentation. Like I've learned so much, and it was really amazing because you covered every aspect that somebody who doesn't know anything about meditation, and also I love the message. A really, I mean, just giving people like when you were talking about transforming resentment into compassion, and this whole practice is giving people the permission to be able to feel, permission to feel without any guilt, permission to allow themselves, which is so difficult as caregivers. I would like to ask you, how could people get in touch with you? Could you provide us with an email address or a website? Because I know that a lot of people may want to be in touch with you since you're a clinical psychologist. What would be the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I think the best way, as you mentioned, Clara, is via my email. So I think you have my email. You can give it to some people who wants to get in touch with me.
Okay.
So they
Would
can
you be able
email.
to say it? Just give us your email.
So yeah, it's Bassam, Bassam .el dash Khoury, Khoury at McGill.ca. So it's my full name, Bassam El Khoury, with a dot between them at McGill.ca.
Well, thank you so much for spending the time with us today.
You're welcome. Thanks a lot, Claire, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
So this webcast is an initiative of the McGill University Dementia Education Program, which is funded by private donations. If you would like to make a contribution to our program or for more information about all of our amazing free resources, please visit us at mcgill.ca/dementia. And if you would like to join our mailing list to be notified about upcoming episodes of McGill Cares, as well as other important programs and resources from us, you could email us at dementia@mcgill.ca. Thank you for watching.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.